Can we do MASTERCAM and Corel? Oh, yeah.
All right, people, here we go. Let's see if I can get this. We're on MASTERCAM 2024. It is a little bit different as far as the initial setup, so be patient. Okay, so here we are. I want machine, router, default, just like normal. And I'll show you where things get a little wonky. If you don't have anything right here, let's go to view and just make sure our toolpath tab is on. So there it is. I'm going to double click properties and I'm going to double click stock or click stock setup, sorry. And now our piece looks a little different if you had been using MASTERCAM anything up to 2022. So we're going to do this first. We're going to go to add from a bounding box. I'm going to put this at the lower left, and then I'm going to put my dimensions in. So in this case, I'll do 6 by 6 by 1, and I'll hit check. Then I'm going to hit check again. And now I'm going to go up to toolpaths right here, and I'm going to hit stock display, and then I'm going to hit this. Now I'll go to view, and we'll go to fit, and make sure you're on top. So we're back to how we normally used to do things if you've messed with this. If not, it doesn't matter. Now you know how to do it. So I have 6 by 6. I'm using my mouse. Make sure you're using a mouse. With the center wheel, I can rotate this in 3-dimensional space, all right? And you've got this bar down here that tells you what view, front. So look down here, left, bottom, back, right, top. Now, it's really hard to design if you're not at a perfect flat angle. So if you mess up by hitting the scroll wheel, just go over here to view, top, and it puts you back. And then you can hit fit, unzoom, etc. So this is just giving you some basics of manipulating the piece. If you want to move the view down, you're going to use the arrow keys. All right, so you can see how I'm tapping those arrow keys. And then again, let's just say that you lose your whole piece. I'm holding down. I'll just go to view, top, fit, bloop, brings it back. Perfect. So let's get started making something. We're going to do something very simple today. I'm going to go to wireframe. And remember that this workpiece dimension is 6 inches by 6 inches. So whatever I'm going to machine, when possible, I want the workpiece to be slightly bigger so that I don't have to worry about hitting any of the jigs or the holders in the workpiece. To start, we're going to make a rectangle. And let's make it 5 by 5, which, yes, is a square. And then it says select position for the first corner. So if you see down here, look at this X and look at this Y. And if I get down there, they all turn to 0, 0, 0. Okay. So if I have a 6 by 6 box with a 5 by 5 box in it, that's a ½ inch on each side. What I'm going to do is hit the space bar. It opens up this little box right here. And I'm going to put 0.5 over, comma, 0.5 up, and hit enter. And now that box is perfectly centered, all right? The point of me showing you this is that you understand that you can see where a selected point is. In this case, it grabbed from the lower left. But rather than trying to manipulate it with the mouse, which you're never going to get it exact, you can just hit the space bar and type your first 2 X and Y dimensions in. So in that case, we did 0.5 over, 0.5 up. All right, you're good. So I'm going to hit check, the green check to finalize this. And then I'm just going to hit escape to get out of the command. Now I am still in the wireframe tab, and I'm going to go over here to create letters. And I want you to type your first name and last name. So notice I'm going to say Joel, and then I'm going to hit the enter key and do my last name. Leave it on this default font at this point. I'm going to hit enter. Sorry, I'm going to click, and it puts it right there. All right, so let's cancel that. And I'm going to show you kind of why. So now It still has the last thing I typed, and it's following the cursor. I can put it exactly where I want. I'm going to say, okay, that looks about centered, and I'm going to click, and then I'm going to hit the green arrow. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run a toolpath, very simple, on one part. Go to toolpath, and we're going to go to contour. And before we do this, I'm going to explain what all of these are. We're using 2-dimensional. Don't use 3D, it will mess you up. If you see, the contour shows this little half loop in a square. So it's saying it comes in, it goes all the way around the square, and it comes out. The drill is saying it just makes a hole. We're not really going to mess with these. The only other one that we're going to use in these early videos is pocket. And what pocket does is it removes the whole inside out of a selected shape. All right, so contour just goes around the shape. Pocket removes everything in the shape. Drill drills holes. So contour. Here it's going to tell you the selection method of how you want to grab the piece. So you could do a window, and you would drag the window over the whole thing. The problem is I do not want to machine the letters at this point. So I'm going to do chain. I'll click chain, and then I'm just going to click anywhere on the 4 lines that I want to machine. I suggest, just get in the habit of lower left. Now, the first thing we want to look at is the arrow is going up, right? Do I want it to cut in the center of the line, to the right of the line, or to the left of the line? In this case, we're going to say we're going to cut in the center of the line. I'll drag this up, and I'll hit check. I'm going to go to tool, and then one of these, select tool from library, click this, and type 145. Oh, sorry, got the dyslexia. 145. There we go. That's a 1/4 inch straight end mill. I'll hit check. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and hit check. I'll bring this up where you can see a little more. I'm going to change the feed rate, which is how fast the bit moves through the wood, from 200 to 100. And I'm going to put rapid retract, and I'm going to change the plunge rate to 75. That should be good for there. I'm not worried about holder. I am going to go to cut parameters. And right here, you can see it's on computer left. So earlier, our arrow was going up. Sometimes it's going the opposite way, right? So it's either going up or down, left or right, forward or backwards, whatever you want to call it. Since it's going up, if I wanted to cut to the outside of the line, I would put it on left. Notice this changed. If I wanted to cut to the right of the line, I would put it on right. And if I want to cut in the center of the line, I'll turn it off. So now we're cutting in the center of the line. We're going to put depth cuts on. I don't want to take everything out in one pass. So I've selected depth cuts, and it's saying the max amount it will take is 100 thousandths. So 100 thousandths is a little bit under 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to tell it to keep the tool down. This way, as it makes the pass, it won't come up, go back, go down, and make the second pass. It will just make the pass, come back, go down, make the pass, come back, go down, make the pass. If we were making 10,000 pieces, this could save us a lot of time. If we save time, we're saving money. Lead in, lead out, I'm actually going to turn off. So the little kind of C that we saw when we looked at the contour button, it's going to remove that. You can see the same thing right here, but I am going to turn that off. Breakthrough, I'm not going to break through right now. Multipass, I do want on, and I'm going to tell it to keep the tool down and machine finish passes after roughing all contours. What this does is instead of it machining a pass, making a finish pass, machining a pass, making a finish pass, it's going to do all the rough passes, and then it'll come back and do one finish pass. Tabs, I do not need on at this time. On linking parameters, I'm going to turn clearance on. I'll turn it to 1. We're going to go absolute, 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 absolute. I'm going to give you a very quick definition of this. Absolute means that as the machine makes a move, it goes from A to B. The next move is calculated from wherever it ended. All right, so we're at B, and it's going to calculate B to C from that point. Now we're at C, and it's going to calculate C to D from C. If we're on incremental, it is always calculating from the known position of 1, which means that if you have any mistake, it's going to compound onto every other mistake. So let's just say you are making a series of holes with the drill. If you're on incremental, if the first one is off, it's going to get off by that much every time. And eventually you'll start seeing a big difference. So for what we do, we stick with absolute. Everything else is good. We're going to go to depth. Super important to note that the depth is going to be negative because we're going to 0 at the top of our 1-inch workpiece, and then we're going to go negative to work into it. So in this case, I'm going to put negative 0.25. That's a negative 1/4 inch. Again, negative 0.25. If you don't put negative, it's just going to hover above. If you put negative 2.5, it's going to try to drive 25 inches down. It's going to wreck the machine, the table, and your part. If you put anything other than negative 0.25, it's going to be wrong. And we can check this by saying, so I'm just going to say that I'm a new student and I accidentally put negative 2.5, and we'll go ahead and see what happens. So I'll move this up. Try to move this up. So we're going to go 1 inch here. I know it's smaller and harder to see. I apologize. I'll try to fix that in a minute. On the depth, I'm going to put negative 0.2. Sorry, negative 2. And this is wrong, so don't follow me on this section. And I'll hit OK. Now, the goal was that I did not want to do that. Also, you can see I have this turned on. So I'll go back through my parameters and I'll show you why. I want that bit. I want it at 100, plunge rate at 75, and a rapid retract. I basically have to do the stuff over that you just did. So if you already did this, don't follow me. Depth cuts, yes. Keep tool down. Lead in, lead out. Let's turn. We'll leave it on for now. I'll show you why. Breakthrough off. Multi-passes on. No tabs. Parameters good. Okay. So here we go. And I'm going to go right here. And this is just a verification mode. It's going to do a simulation for us and show us what it would look like if we actually ran this. All right, so I'll press play, and I'm actually going to tilt it with the wheel so you can see it better. And remember, I only wanted it to go 1/4 inch originally, and now it's gone the whole way through, okay? And it did the lead in, lead out, where it's coming in and then going back out through there. And the problem is if I do want to do this, I need to make sure that there's tabs here to hold the piece in, because if you cut the piece freely while this thing is spinning at 18,000 RPMs, it's going to fling it, damage the bit, break the bit, damage your piece, damage the machine, etc. So I'm going to kill this right here. This is just the verification part. I'll go back. I'm going to go to parameters, and I'm just going to uncheck a couple of things. So lead in, lead out, I'm going to change. So I'll turn that off. And then on linking parameters, I'm going to go back to our original negative 0.25. All right, only 1/4 inch deep. I'll hit that. If you get an X over here, you can just hit this, regenerate all selected operations. And then you can go right here to verify. I'll hit play, and there it is. So from a 3-dimensional view, we can see it went down 1/4 inch, and that did everything it was supposed to do. I'll kill this. In fact, actually, just position this a little bit where it's 3-dimensional. Just take a picture of this. It should have your name on it, and that will be your grade. Okay, so that's everything. And if you have any questions, go back and watch the video. Thanks.